Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, and today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Narwal from CZT Sam Taylor. Now, this is an interesting one. It has similarities. If you have been following these Zentangle Quickies as I've been putting them out, a few days ago I did one called Perk, and this has a similar feature in that ribbon style. And also, it's kind of based around a string line, we'll say. So, before I forget, in the description section, I will have my step out as I always do. I will also put a link to Sam's video that she did for Sakura, where she is showcasing and showing this this tangle, because it's neat to watch it right from the person that originated the tangle. All right, so if, for instance, so you have your string and you have, I'm just going to go with a pointy thing because the narwhal is like, what is it, the unicorn of the sea or something like that. And let's do something. I'm so not good at drawing. This is why we don't, all right, there we go. Okay, it looks like a pointy finger. This is why, this is why I love Zentangle, because it is non-representational. And I did play with it on, I did a traditional tangle, because it's like, well, I'm just going to test this and we're going to see, will this fit in any shape? Because the way she does it, it's in kind of like a pointy unicorn type shape. So, for those like me that can't draw, don't worry. I think you can do this one, because if I can do it, you can do it. All right, so in Perk, we drew these, and I saw it termed lazy S. I was calling it an elongated S shape. Whichever way you want to think about it, it works. So starting at the tip, we're gonna make some ribbons similar to what we did in Perk. And what's extra fun with this is that you could have them angle however you want. Now, usually, like, I'll start at the tip here and then decide, okay, well, I've got one, I kind of want to cover this, so I'm going to do this, the second one, just kind of above it, like so. This one also, as you saw in the beginning picture, I think the more whimsical, the better with this one. So the more odd shapes that you have, it just makes it kind of cool. But at this point, you can kind of shape where you're going to go. So they all shouldn't maybe go the same direction. You could have them change a little bit. And we want to separate them a bit. So these ones, like I said, it's an elongated, and actually it would be a backwards S, right? If we're drawing it this way, it's like a backwards S. And separate them just a bit. And after you play, this is one that you definitely have to play with. I'm going to have this one kind of slide maybe more at an angle. And maybe, I don't know. Mine are all going to slant the same angle. Sorry. Now, something else that I'm kind of still working on myself with this is, in Zentangle, when you're doing a traditional tile, we do the string, the border and string and light pencil. It's because the objective is that the pencil line just ends up disappearing into the entire pattern, and we don't generally worry about it. So with this one, I find myself worrying about it, and I personally just don't like that. All right. So what I'm thinking with that is you could kind of make sure to overshoot some of these, or just be cognizant of that, and play with it. And if you are on Facebook, I would love to have you, if you're not already, on our Facebook Tangle Addicts community, so that way you can show what you did and we can talk about it and all of that kind of thing. All right, so once you have as many of these initial ribbons as you need, we're going to add to that. So we're going to put another layer. And what I noticed she did in her video was this one is a little bit longer, is a little bit wider. So I'm going to start up a little bit. And you don't always have to have, like, some of mine are a real hook around. And I noticed on her, some of them were kind of straight. And maybe had I done that, I don't know. But they can end at different places. Well, let's say too, and if you've been listening to any of my things, I mean, that is like spontaneous creativity, and I'm just, whoo. I'm like, well, I just don't know about that. I work on it. Now, something else, as I've been playing with this, sometimes I find, well, I might need to just add a little line here or there to have these guys meet up. But this is basically it. So, initial ribbon, separated, and then another one, maybe a little bit thicker. And then this last one, she does this. And I had to watch the video a couple times to see. And this is where I'm thinking, well, I wonder if I could go, well, why don't I just do it and see? Because she kind of left this part empty. But for this first one, I'm going to start about sort of in the middle of this. I'm going to go way out. And then I'm doing kind of a wild S. Like so. Okay? And, well, and I'm going to combine the last two steps. So, so she does this kind of wild, a bigger S, and then comes back and finishes it off. So kind of like where this one, that last one trailed, she kind of just brings that in. So this is where I mean. So you kind of have this little gap, which, it's okay, and depending on what you do with it. All right. So then again, coming way in, and then touching this one this S that I did last. And coming down. And it seemed like some of hers, she kind of came down in the middle. Again, it's just something, to play with. And then finishing that off from there. Okay, then this one's going to be bigger. But I think I'm going to do that again where I kind of jot out quite a bit and come down. Or maybe I'll come down there. And then from here, just kind of finishing it off like so. It almost looks like a pile of flat rocks, really, if you think about it. Okay, and then I'm not going to worry about this bottom. This is, where you could fill that in however you might want. Actually, I could just do, well, I could go backwards, right? And do some more of these. Different widths. And then, just kind of taking it off the page like so. And then that could go like that. There we go. Okay. Then, for shading, I liked her recommendation on this. So these big sections, these last ones that we did, so we're going to put some graphite, top and bottom of those. Whoops, sorry for that little shaking there. So top and bottom on those, the big fat ones that we did as a start. And then we're going to take the tortillon and just smudge it a bit. Now this is small, so I have to be careful. If you're doing it on something bigger, of course, then you have more room. But I just want to be really, really careful. Because otherwise, then the whole thing just ends up gray, and that's no point. All right, then she mentioned putting some graphite just right along these string lines, and I'm going to start with just one, and I'm just picking one arbitrarily, kind of the one underneath, just where I know I have enough room to spread the graphite, and it's not going to make it all gray. So I like this. So especially if you're doing something small like this, I kind of like this idea better. And then my motion for moving this graphite is I'm just going along that line. And just pushing it, because you can see, well here, yeah, as I've stopped part way, you see that it spreads it out and smooths it without having it go too far. So it's kind of a, well, and who knows, this could be something that is normal, but I've figured it out on my own. I'm always proud of it when I figure it out for myself. And then you can just see how you like it. So like this, because mine is small and these bits are kind of narrow, I don't think I want to add, at least towards the top, too much. Maybe I'll put a little bit something here at the top, and maybe just right here because I can. But this is where doing the shading in steps, I think, will really be helpful. And let's just do something right there at the top. And then I was also thinking, yes, it looks cool. And I could have been a lot lighter with that pencil mark. But I was also thinking, you could just shade a little bit of the outside. So then the whole thing, and I'm just using what's left on my tortillon and kind of what's already here in that string line. And I'm not smudging over that string line. I'm just leaving it. But when we do things, you know, on either side, it gives it that rounded feel. And actually, I'm going to kind of close these little guys off. Well, that one ended up looking quite gray. But still, you know what? You see, it looks rather neat. So, oh, and as I mentioned, she said you could do this with any shape, and you could. And actually, there's a tangle called Aqua Fleur, which I'm gonna have to do that one soon. And it's similar to this. That one, and maybe just because I don't feel like I'm good at these ribbon things and having them hook around. I don't feel that, but you know, it's one of those, I keep working on it. But I'll have to do that one as well because it has that similar stroke. But this one is neat because it doesn't end up looking like, oh, I have all of, where you have that stroke. It just looks like I said, it looks like a pile of rocks. Now, you could, of course, add color. You could also, I think I saw some examples, you could decorate in here like we did on Perk, where you could, if you wanted to put some little orbs and stuff in any of these ribbons, these sections, of course, feel free to, because it's your tangle and you can do what you want with it. So here's one that I did. Oh, let me back up. Let me pull up this camera a little bit. Apologize for the shaking in advance. Okay. So I did 4 corners, my normal curvy border, and then I did a 3-part string. So it was, here and here, and that was my string. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to pick something and do it, and so that's what I've done here. And it doesn't look too bad. It actually kind of looks like a fat caterpillar-ish. I mean, that's the other fun thing about Zentangle is it's kind of like staring at the clouds. And I know there's a word for that, and I know all of you guys are watching are so bright that somebody will put the word for it in the comments, where you can look at something and find the shape in it, like, oh, I see this, I see that. So like I said, this makes me think of a fat caterpillar, kind of makes me think of Alice in Wonderland a little bit. But anyway, so it's a fun tangle. For me, it was a stretch, but it's always good every once in a while to do something that stretches you. And with Zentangle, you're safe because there's no such thing as a mistake. If you don't like it, then you just you save it for something else. Or you just put it aside and wait a little bit, and if you still don't like it, then we do, I was trying to find it here, well, this is one. Then you just save it for later, and you do a transcend. and you make sure to find that class on that. All right, so with that, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, I would appreciate any thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, would love to have you subscribe. After you hit the subscribe button, make sure to hit the notification bell next to it so you can decide how you want to be notified. I'm posting every day, so that way you know. So if you don't like things popping up on your phone every day, I would hate to have somebody be, oh, I'm so annoyed at this these Zentangle things are popping up every day all the time. But just you can select none, and then you can just go to YouTube and watch when you want to. That's what I do generally. So with that, I wish you happy tangling.